We're going to be mashing up Madballs with Resident Evil characters. What's going on, guys? It's Eric coming back at you from the Nerd Cave, and today we are actually doing our first voiceover and our first time-lapse video. We got our microphone in the mix finally. We decided to actually buy a microphone, so hopefully I'll sound like I'm on old-time radio. Oh. But today we're doing a little bit of a mashup. We're going to be mashing up characters, or the design really, of Madballs, which was an 80s cartoon and toy line. You may be familiar with it. It was a little bit of an obscure one, but they had some really cool characters. I think probably the most recognizable one for most people would be Screamin' Mimi, who looked like a baseball with a face. Definitely cool, gnarly toys. I'm going to be mashing those up with Resident Evil characters that may be starting to take shape for some people who are watching what's going on screen. But first we put down Nemesis. Now we're working on a liquor. You guys may recognize that. Gotta have the giant tongue. Classic liquor. But first we're just kind of going in and putting down our line art. This is the long form video, even though it's in time lapse. This drawing took me several hours. It didn't help that at the time when I was working on this drawing, we had no power due to Hurricane Ian, so it was extremely hot. But that's one thing that really drove me. I haven't done a lot of drawing in a while, and if you guys don't know, if you don't record video, when you're doing a time lapse, it actually uses less battery, so you can get a lot more video out of it in a way. Really, you end up with less total content, but I was able to at least make a video during the time that we didn't have power. I couldn't really charge the batteries and stuff. Thankfully, I usually keep my GoPro stuff pretty charged, so I was able to set that up and do some recording. We actually see there's a point where you'll see a transition from working at my desk to working elsewhere. But I finished the line art, so once I'm done with the line art, I go back in and erase all the pencil work, and then I'm just kind of going in and inking that line art, make it a little bit cleaner, so it doesn't look so much like a sketch. It looks more like finished line art anyway. This is going to be a full color drawing, so there's a bit to do here still, but I like to get that initial line art just to really kind of lay out the final design and shape of different parts of the character. It's not super obvious on camera, but I was actually kind of tweaking little bits of the design just to make it lay out in a way that I thought looked more, I'll say, appealing, even though they're scary characters. I don't know how appealing you're really trying to be with a character that's so freaky looking. But it's interesting looking at the characters from Resident Evil, because other than the liquor, I think they really take advantage of that asymmetry, the horror of asymmetry, and that kind of split design down the center of the face. For the three of the characters that I did, so you do have Tyrant in the foreground. You do have the dog, the Doberman, over on the left-hand side. You got the liquor on the right-hand side. And then you do also have, I wonder what it would technically be considered. It's like the G4. Something like is when we finally start getting our line art in. And you see how I kind of intended to fill out the bottom half of that page. You see stuff's set kind of high. I had some plans to put some text at the bottom. Honestly, it ended up fitting pretty nicely. I maybe would have put Nemesis a little further. Like, if I was doing this digitally, I maybe would have cut Nemesis and moved him a little further to the left, just to give myself a little more room next to the Licker's tongue as opposed to going under it. But I'd prefer to have my letters be uniform than to sacrifice that in favor of having it to be to the left side of the tongue. And I think you still get the effect of the E, especially once the color's dropped in, which you'll see, like I said, coming up here. But yeah, if this is your first time tuning in, not only do I not typically do voiceover, but I don't typically do a lot of art stuff on my channel. It is focused on nerdy stuff. I felt like this fit that category, and like I said, this is what I was kind of able to produce during the time without power during Hurricane Ian. But this is definitely not the typical video for me. I do a lot more resale content, buying video games, toys, that kind of thing. Here you see me transition to starting to color it. Now it's at night, so I'm actually coloring by flashlight here. So I had a high power flashlight that I'm just kind of pointing down at my drawing and beginning the initial layers of color. Like I said, this drawing took place over several hours. But yeah, I typically do resale content. I've also done like toy restoration. We do vlogs here and there. So there's a lot of different stuff going on the channel. We like to keep it fairly consistent in that I'm always a giant nerd. So it's always usually pretty nerdy content. Probably doing less vlog type stuff going forward and more structured content. But if you guys like the vlogs, you want to see the vlogs, stick around, definitely comment below. Let me know. We'll keep doing the vlogs if you guys are enjoying them. Here we're going in with the red just to kind of darken up those hard lines around the pink area. It'll kind of make it look more like it's coming from that dark color. As opposed to just looking like a hard black graphic line. Here you see we transition again, so I'm no longer on my desk. Here I'm actually working on a totally different desk in an entirely different building, actually. Brought all my art supplies with me so I could continue to keep on trucking on this piece of art and get that color down. Once you get to that point, I think, where you're halfway through putting color into a piece, you just want to keep going. You don't want to not finish that piece. And honestly, I was pretty happy with the way this drawing was coming along. Like I said, I'm maybe a little rusty, so I'm sure for some of you artists out there, you may be looking at this and thinking, oh, so, yeah, it's fine. But it's been a while since I've done, especially anything in a sketch pad. You know, I do digital art here and there, obviously for thumbnails and the graphics for my store and all that kind of stuff. I make all that stuff myself. You know, I have the digital art going on pretty regularly, but doing something like this, it's definitely not something I do very often. So if this is a video you guys are tuning into, you're like, oh, this is awesome, we had no idea you could draw, we really like your drawing, would like to see more drawings like this or more videos of you drawing, you're drawing for too long, not long enough, we want to see you draw different stuff, you know, tell me what you guys want to see, because if you guys like this, I'll definitely try to do more drawing. It is something I enjoy. It's just not something I make a lot of time for. And those flesh tones in. I feel like that's hard to even tell on camera that like anything is happening when you're laying down that initial flesh tone. It's so light, but then when we start to go in and kind of darken it up, I feel like it starts to pop out a little bit more. You can tell it's not the same color as the pad, at least. Hopefully this audio sounds good and doesn't sound creepy. On a related note, though, we did just do, well, related to the channel, I guess, we did just do the Pocky One Chip Challenge. We did a crossover with the Elusive John on TikTok. He actually did a live, so that is now gone. So the full video will be coming to the YouTube channel. So if you want to see me eat a super spicy hot chip, you want to see John eat a super spicy hot chip, that video is going to be coming soon. Definitely keep it spoiler free, but it was an experience, that's for sure. But check us out on TikTok. We upload weird videos there. It's not generally the same stuff you see on YouTube. We don't do just like clips of our YouTube videos. On TikTok, I actually make unique content for TikTok. I enjoy it. It's a bizarre platform. I feel like I'm maybe starting to get the hang of it a little bit. So that was the last little bit of color. I feel like I go in and touch up. Oh, well, there's still a blue. I have these blue streaks in the background that I wanted to kind of get in there. And then I touch up some of the remaining color, just to really finalize it and darken some of it up, get a darker outline around some things. Give it really that, like, graphic. Like, I want to tone the graphic look down on the interior of the characters to some extent, but I really want to kind of drive that home on the darker lines. Yeah, this is the stuff that I definitely love to draw, is this kind of creepy, weird kind of stuff. I love drawing directly in ink. That's something I've definitely been known to do. Just doing ink-only drawing. Yeah, we're kind of wrapping up the drawing here. So, you know, thanks so much to you guys who stuck around to the end. Thank you to everybody who takes the time to like the videos. It really helps us out a ton, getting recommended to other people who may enjoy this content. I hope you'll stick around. You'll subscribe if you haven't already. And thanks so much for watching. And remember, when you see those toys and video games off in the distance, it is not a mirage. You guys have a great day.